Hey, 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 how's everyone doing? This is Mike Gilcreast on the Mike Gilcreast Show, live and present to you. I'm just so happy to be here, elated, just full of joy. Had a fantastic day. Uh, um, where do I start? Just so much. And, I'm down here in Florida. I'm just enjoying it, the weather, even though it rained today and tonight and probably most of this week is raining, but this like rainy season, hurricane season, storms, tornadoes, stuff like that. You adjust, act accordingly and press on, be safe, always be safe. A lot of prayer, the God keep us safe and going forth and as we, live life. I'm just excited to just be a part of everyone's life, and you are part of my life as well. And so hello, shout out from Mike and Mel to Linda, and I'm just joy. I'm glad I'm start getting fans. I'm glad everybody's subscribing. I'm just things are growing and moving forth. I'm like, wow, 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 wow. And so everything I do, it's exhilarating. It's almost like I have a rush. But you know what? I'm enjoying life, and you know, I don't know what what I would do if I didn't do this or didn't do that. But I'm sure I find something. But to find something that you actually love doing or like doing or enjoy doing, and I'm doing it podcasting. I'm preaching the gospel. I'm writing books. I get to talk motivational speaking. I'm coaching people. I mean, I'm doing everything I want to do. I did a bunch of stuff I didn't want to do. I'd serve our country. I was patriotic. I served the military. Then I served as a civilian, supporting our country and stuff like that. But that was all work. And I'm like, okay, I did my time. Had a great career. Well, I had a couple great careers, and now I'm getting retirement checks from that. Uh, um, but writing books, I mean, this is like a passion, and I never intended to do this, but did not know my story in my life. The words that I write will be affecting people in such a way, and I'm just enjoying this, and so I'm living life, and so when I come and say I'm having fun, I did what I had. I tell people do what you have to do, so you could do what you want to do. I did for two careers, two retirements. You know, I did what I had to do, so now I'm doing what I want to do. Now I have freedom, have passion. I pastor a church. I mean, people like you have a whole lot. I say, yeah, I have a real estate license. I have financial management license. With state of Virginia, and just doing a whole lot, a heap of stuff, and growing and do other stuff, working on finances and my goal is to be debt free, and my only expense right now is the biggest expense. I don't count little cars that I pay off every month. I don't count that, and so it's the house, and so after the house, boom, I'm done. And so, but I have to have a goal to do something else, and that's another story. But before I even get started, I just ate dinner, and eating dinner, sometimes I had church. With today is our fast day, if y'all understand fasting. So we fasted, and I'm off to church, and then after church, then we're home. So we had a chance to get a bite to eat, a few, I made errands today, and so so I did these things, and so I'm like, okay, now what? What next? And so I had dinner. And I stopped by this place here, and you see it right there online is Gallows Polo and Grill here in Apaka. I mean, Last time I was on there, that's when I went, and then I went back. We just back from North Carolina last week. You know, I sold out of my paperbacks, almost sold out of hardbacks, and we're selling a ton of books, and I'm just excited with this. But we had this for dinner today. Polo chicken. There's El Polo with chicken grilled and delicious. Oh my God, delicious. And so and I met, you know, the owners. I know the owners and his father and son, and they're great people. And they're almost, even their father and son, they're like twins. My middle name's Anthony, and so their name's Anthony. So the father's Tony, because the nickname for Anthony is Tony, and the son is Anthony. And I say, that's my son's name. I call my son Ant. And the young man said, that's what my dad calls me. So I was connecting there. The food was just delicious. And Anthony, he's going to be a great owner. I'm telling you, he's a young man, and just the way they care about people. I put their information down, the address, the phone number. You in the area, if you're in Apopka, Florida, we're like 30 minutes from Orlando, and stop by there and get you a bite to eat. You're not going to be disappointed, and I can't wait to go back. And that's what I told him. We're talking to each other, and I'm like, yeah, I can't wait to get back, you know. And so I don't get tired of good chicken. I mean, it's grilled just right. The sides are good. I had some beans and rice and some plantains. I mean, oh my God, it was delicious. And my wife got potatoes and the same thing. So if you come down, when people come down, like the Williams, if you hear me out there, we got to go there. Linda, Butch, and them, we got to go check that place out. And Darius, my grandson, we're going to get there, all right? And so wanted to give a shout out to Gallows Polo and Grill. And as I promised, I mean, I'm going to shout them out as much as possible. I mean, it took me over 2 years to find this place, and I'm like, and they just opened up, and I'm like, you know what? It was a win-win, and so go there, go there. You're not gonna be disappointed, and I give it 2 thumbs up for real. Here's my 2 thumbs. I give it 2 thumbs up. All right, so go get your bite to eat. All right, so we can go from there. Also, I met some other great people, and y'all know as I'm doing my show, I like to give a shout out to people that I met and. I don't know if it's just Florida, because I always thought California got beautiful women, But Florida, oh my God, but not just Florida, North Carolina. It's just seem like everywhere I go, it's just not only beautiful physically people, but beautiful attitude. Florida got some beautiful people, and they have beautiful attitudes. I met Tyra today. Me and my wife, we go out making our errands, running all over the place. But normally I'm working with Heaven. Heaven is a sweetheart, and she's a newlywed, and just a beautiful spirit. So shout out to Heaven. And then Tyra, I just met today, and Tyra, and I'm like, you know how I remember her name? I told her, I said, Tyra Banks. I'm going to remember you, all right? And so when I make my errands, sometimes I run these same peoples and stuff like that. Take care of personal matters. I'm not going to discuss all that stuff, but Heaven, shout out Tyra. Thank you for being a sweetheart. I appreciate you. Follow me, and one never knows. I mean, I meet other people, and it's like you never know how paths cross up. And this next lady, we're hoping to get an interview out of there. I'm working on some new personalities to come on, and so hopefully we'll be in touch. I don't know if we'll have somebody by Friday. If not this Friday, maybe next Friday. We hope to have a guest. We'll have plenty of guests and stuff. So just stay tuned. I talk a lot. Ask your questions. Don't be afraid. I told you 75% of my conversation is about relationships, and you know that. And so I'm just reminding new people so they know, not the people that's been here. So we have that. What else? Talon. I met Talon. We were at Costco's today, and we had to pick up some odds and ends and some salad and so forth. So Talon, we ran to each other a couple of times, and I said, if I see her again, I'm going to talk to her, because knowing you people, you say hi, and you're jovial and you're nice, but this young lady, oh my God, she's unique, she's different, she's down to earth. I mean, I can't say enough good things about her. She's just awesome, and I'm so glad that I ran to her again. The hour we were going in to get a couple of things, she was right there. I'm like, I'm going to talk to her, and so I talked to her about my book, and I got new followers and stuff, but we have a lot in common, and I cannot wait to, our paths cross again, and hopefully we can gear up something soon because my schedule's getting busy, busy, busy. But if we, as long as we can stateside, I would try to, uh, um, do the podcast when I can. But I gotta tell you, let me see my calendar right quick. Uh, yeah, I'm looking at June. I can't. It's not on my calendar here. June, and I'll give you a heads up so you can make plans and stuff, uh, um, um, and we can go from there. I don't know how to get into my phone to look at my calendar here. All right, so we're right here, June. So June, I believe the second week. So the 9th through the 13th, we're on a cruise. Remember, I told you I'm itching for a cruise, and so we'll be out of the country. And so with all this loss and stuff like that, it's probably not a good idea. I take my phones and computers and stuff over because everything's going to be this, that, and the other. I want nothing to get broken or whatever. And so not there yet. And so when we it's no podcast that week, the 9th through the 13th, and then the week after, I think we're in South Carolina, and so. So, but we will be able to get podcasts on there. It'll be a different format. I can't take all my equipment, but when I'm stateside, I try to do it as much as possible. But we're on the move, and I don't want to miss. I enjoy doing this, and I enjoy spending time you and likewise you with me, and sharing our thoughts and mindset about everything that we're doing. And so I'm just putting it out there. 9 through 13 June, we'll be out of the country on a cruise, and maybe if I remember, I'll try to bring back so y'all can see a couple pictures or something like that. But if you follow me on my Facebook, I post all the pictures anyway. And so if you see my Facebook, my Instagram is you see the emblem. It says BM Gilcreast Enterprise. That's my handle for like Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, or X. So BM Gilcreast, that's my handle. So at BM Gilcreast. So it's right there off the logo. And so you'll be able to find my stuff, like me, find me, and whatever. So we could go from there. But yeah. My motto is work hard, play hard. So I take a little break. I'm looking forward to this because we're up sometimes. I don't even want to tell you, we're up to sometimes 6 in the morning, working on this, trying to get stuff done, trying to bring the best show to you possible. Plus, I'm pastoring, doing that, get my studies together. It's just so much in appointments and engagements and interviews, and it just, oh my God, so much. And we're I know in October we'll be out of the country, so I won't be on for that. That's like a week. We're down in the Philippines, so. Oh, Lord, that's a mission trip, something I love doing because I believe in giving back. But I'll come back and share all my experiences with you and let you know how things work and stuff like that. And so doing some great things. We just kind of finalized that today. I've been talking about it, and then we have more travel to do after that. And so you're going to have a lot to ask me questions about and a lot to share and more things I'm going to bring because my mind's always working, writing stuff down, interviews we're trying to get together. It's just a lot. And so it is what it is. All right. Gotta love it. Hey. All right. And so I have to do that, so all right, let's move on. All right. So thank you for joining us, and we're gonna move on with our show. And so I gave all my shout outs, so it was just great meeting, and knowing I knew heaven, but Tyra and Talon, TNT. So great meeting these all these young ladies and just able to give a shout out and talk sincere stuff and talk about just life in general. Have fun. Worse to live. All right, and I put my if you want to come on live and talk and ask questions, please do. It's a link out there as well. And if you call in, we just accept you in. We can talk and you can ask your questions live if you like. All right, continue to pass the word. Tell somebody about us. Say they talk about everything, and we all are a part of everybody's life. And so I'm just sharing. But don't forget, if you're there, check out Gallows Poland Chicken. All right, and so. I'm just giving shout outs and stuff like that. And we're going from there. All right. And so that being said, let's move on. All right. And so, what we have here? I, I'll show you my book later on, and then we can, do some other things as well. And so it's just got a lot to do, a whole lot, a whole heap. That's what my mom, my mother-in-law used to say. She'd tell my wife, she loved her, and she loved her a whole heap. So we have a whole heap to get through. All right, all right. I wanted to talk today. We're doing the, relationship baggage and divorce. And so it all happens, goes hand in hand. Every day somebody's separating, every day somebody's getting divorced, every day, unless there's a day that they're not open, that's happening, right? People are getting into new relationships. And when people get in new relationships, they bring baggage. No matter what relationship it is, if they're single, you got baggage. If you're married, you got baggage. If you're divorced, you got baggage. You're separated, you got baggage. And if you don't understand life, you got baggage. It's also people go into relationship. And I think for a number of things that I understand, is we have a misconception of what's expected, what's required. And so I was pondering this thought, and I'm saying, I wonder if a single mom, single woman, right? Well, not single, yes, single. I said single, but a single woman with a child, right? Or I won't say 2 and 3, because that higher number of children, it just makes it that much difficult. Not impossible, but more and more difficult. And it's also, I don't like to think anything's possible, because I've seen people with 2 kids get married. I've seen people with 3 kids get married. I've seen people with grown kids and they got grandkids and they get married. So that's why I say it's not impossible. It's just harder. But anything worth having, if you heard me before, I always say it's worth fighting for it. You got to go for it. Don't sit back in the wind and wait. I'm getting older. Okay, if you're getting older, nothing's happening. And but know that your life in front of you is going to get better. I wonder, as the start, I ponder and I bring it to you. You can, I'm going to talk about it, but if you have something to say about it, you can, and you could text or you can call in or whatever. Is it considered baggage? This is what I was thinking about, because my mind just goes left, right, sideways, whatever, right? But these questions I ponder, and I said, And even when I was out there doing my thing, I was being a bad boy. I have a book out, Unworthy Children Forgiven, so I put stuff in there. This thing never crossed my mind, to say, if you're single with a kid, is that kid considered baggage going into that next relationship? You meet a guy and things are hitting off, and you're like, do I tell him about my kid? Or do I not tell him about my kids? And it worked both ways. A woman can tell, not tell. A lot of times the guy won't bring up the conversation. He have to wait, I think, till he's comfortable. Me, it make me know, never mind. I could tell you, you take me, I'm a face value kind of guy. You take me at face value. I'm married, divorced, whatever, 2 kids, whatever. Just take it or leave it. End story. And I'm a package deal. But I think it works different than that with a female. I don't think it works the same. I've met people and know people myself, right? If you have a child, they won't date you. No, I say that effort. They get with you, but they won't marry you. All right. And then again, for me or other people I know, that's true. But for other people, it doesn't matter if you have 1 kid, 2 kids, and sometimes 3 kids. But I think it's that personality you bring to the table. This is for the guy to say, can I invest in this? But my question was, do a woman consider her children outside of the relationship she's trying to go into as baggage? Food for thought, right? Well, for me, it is food for thought. And let me see if anybody responded. Probably not. And you got to consider the whole picture. If I'm single, right, I want people to consider the whole me. If I'm single with kids, I want people to consider the whole me. And if I'm divorced with kids, I want people to consider the whole me. Or if I'm just divorced with no kids, I want people to consider the whole me. I think it's important. I think if you're dating, as I always say, have a checklist of what you're looking for in your next relationship. But when you get into that dating state, only date to get married. And so if that's your plan, lay it on the table. Remember, I told you, you got to push the relationship, not maybe the first conversation, but the first couple months, even at the end of the first month, you want to bring relationship in. So the dude would know it's not just a booty call, or it's just not recreational purposes. And other guys I've listened to and heard, learned from, and whatever. When women have kids, it's two things where women are looked at from a man's eye, and I'm speaking as a man, right? Not just pastor and author, but it's a tough consideration when a guy considers a woman. Two things go in that factors in. Does she have a high body count, which means that she sleep around a whole lot? And number two, do she have kids? And I've dated women, and the most number of kids I dated before I got married was a woman with 2 kids. But marriage was nowhere on the table. It was, we could be in a relationship, we could live together, we can, that kind of thing. But marriage, it was never a question that was going to come up. So maybe on their part, but it's something I wasn't going to entertain. So people are like that. And I'm being truthful. People need to be truthful. And I think as we get older, my requirements when I was 18 were different than when I turned 20. And then when I turned 22, 23, 25, 30, whatever. And I think as we get older, we mature, we get better, choices change, whatever. And you go from there. But my mindset was at the time when I was a young man, I wanted to have my own family, But if a woman goes into a relationship, do she consider it her kid, her child, or her children baggage to the next relationship? And I think sometimes, there's not statistics to this because it's a thought process based on circumstances that you're, allow yourself to be in. And I think just based on my experience of dating women with kids, and so I've dated a few women with kids, but like I said, marriage was never on the table. It was, I was, when I was doing that, I was single. I wasn't, I was living a single life, but I was married at the time and separated from my wife, living in my own place. All right, and so or living with someone. So I made a disaster. Everything I was doing, it was a disaster. and I tell people I was a bad actor, and I don't mind talking about myself, because I think it makes things a little bit easier, But I was never marrying someone with a kid, I'm, later in life now, I'm older, mature, and this and that. I'm married 30 years. Would I consider that now? That's not the question. It's not up for me. But if I had to say, if I was single today, would I marry someone with a kid? I would look at it differently now than I did before this 30 years that I've been married now. So that's my opinion. The question not to me. I'm married, and my wife tells me she's married to me till I'm dying. So it's not an option going forward. It's just where it is today. I can only talk about before I was married, what I've done, and so I think that's fair. And because people want to know what you have done, what you have done. So I like to give my side, but people aren't necessarily honest. And I think a woman should really look at herself, and they got these terms now, like a woman with 4 kids, and they all got different dads, and they want a high value man. What's a high value man? It's a man, making income of $100,000 and up. All right. They're considered high value, up to like, the millions, and go from there. All right. So they're high value. And that's generally, I want to say 10% or less of the population that makes 6 figures and up. And so it's not a whole lot of people that make that kind of money. All right. But it's a lot of them out there. And so you have to know where you are to get that? Do we overrate ourselves? I think if you ask a person that looks like a 5, what would she give herself? She'll probably say a 10. Nobody going to say they're ugly. All right. And so people told me I was, back in the day, not now, I'm older now, right? But they tell me I look good now. But back in the day I got bigger confidence, but I never looked at myself. And I used to be a conceited guy, but not based on my looks. It was more my attitude. But I was seriously conceited. I thought I had it going on, but people like me, this, that, and other. But I always thought I was about average. I always said about myself because I was not vain, and I think people look better than me. I think people look worse than me. And so I put myself in the middle, even though I did in life and able me to do the stuff I did. I never went to a relationship, and say I got 2 kids and I'm not sure if you're going to date me. That was never my mindset. I was not worried about having 2 kids and if someone would date me. I myself, I didn't have that problem, but people do. People have that issue and or they have a lack of confidence. I never lack confidence. No matter what I do, I'm not conceited, I'm not vain. I'm just, when you know what you know, it's confident. All right. I'm smart with books. I'm smart with numbers. I understand physics, anatomy, physiology, math, trigonometry, geometry, and I was even at the point of calculus. Okay, I was a chemistry major. I was really good at that, and so I'm confident because of information I know. And so I'm confident in women and because of past relationships. I'm confident in relationship because I wrote a book, and I'm confident because the accolades I'm getting and the effect is affected on people. And in my book, people tell me it saved their marriage. They teach in my book in churches. So I'm confident. That don't make me, because my book didn't have to do that stuff, right? And now I have a podcast. And but do you think, because some women, I'll tell you what they do. All right. And I'm going to ask the questions. All right. I got time. I'm not rushing, and I have an appointment tomorrow at 11, but we should be fine. Women get in these relationships. Don't lie to yourself. I talk to, and I'm not just saying this, I told y'all at my last book signing up in North Carolina, that's a 9-hour drive from here because we had to take our stuff. I couldn't fly it. I would have flown, my wife and I, but we had to take our books and signs and all this other stuff. So we got to drive. When we go to New Orleans in a couple months, we got to drive because that's like 9 hours. That's a gigantic book signing that we're planning to be at Lordswell. But women get in these relationships. If you're married, because we're talking about baggage and stuff, do you like women, some women are married to their husbands. I'm saying this and I'm speaking just about women, black women, white women, Spanish people, doesn't matter. I talk to everybody. And a lot of women aren't happy in their marriage. And the thing is, with the mistake they make is, say, for instance, they want a lifestyle of the high value folks of everyday life. They're making $100,000 plus. It goes up from there. And with money comes responsibilities and requirements. You have to know what you're getting to. Some people making 6 figures and up, they cheat on their wives. Some people make 6 figures and up, they don't cheat on their wives. You have to know what you get into so you don't get bamboozled and thinking, oh, I'm believing I got this dude and whatever. You don't know what people are going through when they're with folks. And I'll tell you, a red flag for me, Mike Gilcreast, as a man, when a dude show up and it's about his flashy car, Mike Gilcreast, not to say you can't have a flashy car, not say, when you're acting together, you got your woman, your wife, whatever, and you're moving on, you're living life, and that's one thing. But when you're trying to catch people, captivate people, and you're trying to be flashy, I think you're lacking something. And I'll leave it there. I'm not going into that because that's not what I'm talking about. But I'm opening up the umbrella, the doors, the things, the unknown people don't talk about guys, because I want women to understand how guys operate and think. And that's why I have to give you my mindset. That's why I have to talk about my relationship, what I would do, what I have done prior to being married now. Prior to being married now, I was bad boy. I'm telling you, before I met my wife, I was running girls left and right, this, that, and the other. And because of my story, and you hear me say it, I'm working on the book for women because women say, you should write a book for women. But I'm tying that to my book just so I'm not copyrighted. Hallelujah. But anyway, don't leave your husband thinking that it gets better on the outside, especially when, nobody ain't see questions about baggage, but we won't answer these questions. But especially when you think, I could do better than this. I could do better than you. People want me. Yeah, you got hips, girl. You could shake your hips. Come on now. You got boobs and you got this. You got it. You could get a man. But that doesn't mean you could keep a man. It's different. Don't think that you can live your life. Guys look at women. If a woman have 3 kids and it's by her husband, they got divorced, whatever, a guy look at a girl or a young lady that way, from that mindset. But if she got 3 kids, never been married, and each kid got a different father, it makes it more difficult for her to find high value or almost any man. And she got to, I've seen them take, I ain't saying she got to, but I've seen women take whatever they can get, and then they're not happy. They come and tell me, I'm not happy with and so I can't bust them out, but I can talk about the circumstances of people not being happy in relationship and think it's better on the other side. Some women deal with, I heard a woman say, I know my husband cheats, but I'm staying because he's coming back home to me. He pays all the bills here. He do all this, he do all that, whatever. Men should not have a license to cheat. I'm not saying that. I disagree with that. I believe in fidelity. Even though I had infidelity in my life, in my previous marriage, I don't have infidelity in this marriage, which means I grew up. Sometimes you got to give that guy a second chance. Sometimes you should reconsider your options and not think that if I leave you, I'm going to do better. You look at this world, right? I'm screaming. Let me calm down, relax. Let me drink some water, all right? All right. Look at this world, right? What options are out there? You can barely find a virgin. You can barely find a young person that don't have high body count. If you believe Bible, the Bible talks about how it's going to be like the days of Sodom and Gomorrah. It's not getting better. You got people, you got ugly actresses. And I'm not going to call their names. God, I crack myself up. And they're dating younger dudes. I'm dating younger guys because that's what I do. Well, on a real character, a younger guy, he almost go to bed with anything, right? And I call out, like I heard one lady say, she has a talk show. I'm not even going to talk about who it is. She say, after the sex, before the next morning, you can't spend the night. You got to go. Dude don't want to spend the night. And the chick is, and I'm not talking about people. I'm just calling like it is. I'm not trying to be mean, but she's not. I said she's unattractive. I said like that. Whew. All right, and you on a real deal. Nobody wants you. So people talk to stuff. And I have no respect for actresses and actresses and rich people. I have no respect because to me it's a big orgy. Everybody sleep with everybody. That's a big orgy. I like quality. You know what I mean? Having money and being beautiful means nothing to me. When you understand life and know your capabilities, know what life is made of, you don't care about that stuff. We always go for the hype. I would never be anybody's boy toy. I've never been, even in my young virile ages, right? I've never been anybody's boy toy, and I think too much of myself for that. And so I've never been a prostitute, thinking too much of myself for that. Even though I did the stuff I did it on my terms. I respect my body, this, that, and other. I have morals. And if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be in the marriage I am today. I had what I took. I just went about. I had what it took to have a successful marriage, but I went about it the wrong way. Now I'm educating people so they don't have to go through what I went through. They don't have to go through the challenges I did. Don't think it's better on the outside. I'm not saying take less. I'm saying you got to get your relationship healed so you can move forward and do what you want to do. It's no perfect marriage. If a person's married and a husband cheated, right? then you think it's better. Leave, right? Get out. I'm getting divorced, right? Get the divorce, whatever. And then you're gonna get lonely. You're gonna get this, that, that. Unless you become a hermit, right? Or a woman that's what do you call it? Abstinence, and you're not doing anything. Then so be it. Paul says you better. Paul in the Bible, he says it's better to be single than married, because you can do more for God if you're gonna do more for God, right? But it's easier to have two people. I love the institution of marriage. I love it. I think it's outstanding. I feel I have to be married, and I'll tell you, because not that I'm weak, man, this, that, and other, not that I can't handle temptation. And truth be told, there's a lot of beautiful women out there. And have I ever thought about it? Yeah, I always think about it. But would I ever make that move? No. I just think it's normal for us to be in that mindset. All right. So I said that but my question, and I might bring this up again Friday. I don't know. You had to, I also may have a guest, so I don't know. So we have a lot going on. Let's answer questions. We've only been here, half hour? So, time is fine. So, what we have? Let's go down to the answer this question. What is a sacred relationship? Yeah, I love a sacred relationship. I think, sacred means you're closed off. It's private, it's personal, it's only a union or relationship between you and somebody else. Nobody else can come in, and you and your person go and keep everything in. Like marriage is sacred. So a sacred relationship would be considered a marriage, not common law. I don't believe in common law. And but sacred, as I belong to my wife, she belonged to me, and we did the ceremony portion to make a pledge unto God. And so we call ourselves marriage. That's sacred. And the thing is, in sacred relationship, do not discuss like your sexuality, your intimate moments, your privacy. Nobody outside of you and her should know that. Not the girlfriends, not this, nobody. Because think about it. When your girlfriends know about what you're doing and how well your relationship is, they want your man. Just so you know, don't discuss your girlfriend. I'll tell you, I'll tell you firsthand, right? My first son, mother, right, and my former wife, the wife I divorced, they were best friends, and I left her. Well, I left the relationship I had with her to be with, and I married her friend. And so I'm showing you how when people are like, oh, that's my girlfriend, that's my bestie. And I said, your bestie could be looking at your man. You got to know, make sure you know your friends are your friend. And so I'm giving you scenarios of real life with my life. That's why I wrote a book, so you could see, you know what? And people are like, oh, you a dog, you this, you that. I was young, dumb, stupid, immature, whatever. The words can't hurt my feelings. I knew what I was doing. I was messed up. I was stupid. I wasn't thinking and doing whatever. And but I always wanted a real relationship. I got a wife now. She could come and tell you, she's with me for life. She don't want to leave my side. She knew how I was and accepted me from the way I used to be, forgave me, because I had stuff going on prior to marrying her. And then we moved on, and we have not looked back. I have no regrets. It's not one girl in my past that I wish I was with. Not one. Now, if I wanted them, I would have married them. All right? So we don't have the issue. My wife feels secure. So that's sacred. All right? And if you know my wife, you do not know what goes on in our marriage. We tell you you want to know. We want you to know, but you don't know. We don't think that, our sexuality. You could ask a woman on the streets nowadays, have you ever did this or you ever did that? The intimate parts of a relationship, sex, and they put it out like it's not anything. I value sex. I value the bodies. I value vaginas and male's penis, and so I value that, and I think it should be sacred. Nobody should treat it like it's a piece of meat, a piece of this and piece of that. And so I value it. And so if you listen to us, we never talk about intimacy. We know what we do, and we didn't know what we was doing, we wouldn't still be doing it or happy doing it, because I'd be trying to find it somewhere else, and so it is what it is. All right. So hopefully I explained that to you. All right. This next one is like, how do you balance fun and work together as a couple? It's easy. And I didn't want to take a cruise. I didn't. And I'm like, because I have so much work I'm trying to do, but I can't focus. And so in order for me to focus, I have to take a break because I got to get this book done. But I got to take a break. But even though I'm working on it, I got to take a break because I want to get through it. But I have to go and like, I'm asking a question. I'm having a lot of fun, but to balance the work of it, I don't have a job, but my job is catering to the public, really, catering to lives, relationships. I'm coaching people. I have a fee for that, and so I'm doing motivational speaking. I mean, I'm just out there doing a whole lot of stuff, and but I have to balance it. So now I'm not spending a whole lot of time with my wife like I want to, and I'm like, I miss my wife. She misses me. She want to be close to me. She want to be around me. I'm like, we got to get away. So we make sure our relationship stays healthy. And so we take a break, get our mind off all this everyday routine stuff, and then we come back refreshed, renewed, and she's that much happier. I'm not satisfied unless I'm doing something that would draw us closer together. I am really intimate or really personable with my wife and what I feel. I don't take this relationship for granted. I talk to women all the time, and she trusts me. She's not worried about it. She's not sweating. She's not turning gray. She's not sleeping at night. She feels good. Like women can't be everybody. Women like you can't just be my wife. I'm telling you, any woman cannot be my wife because the requirements is high. Seriously. Because the thing is, I could stay single and I still have a ton of women around me. And I could be married and do it right. The thing is, she proved to me, or she allowed me to prove to her that I was faithful. Seriously. I never thought, like if, I say this all the time, I wouldn't trust my wife if she was me. But she trusts me, and because she trusts me, it made me change. She put something in me that most people did not. And so far so good, but that's God's work. All right, I have to give God credit for that. All right. So what's the next one? All right. Do soulmates really exist? Yeah, I think so. Why do you think so? And because Mel is my soulmate, and I'll tell you, girls like me, and I'm a preacher. Girls like me, and I think it's human nature. Guys like my wife. Actually, girls like my wife. I have to laugh on that one. Oh boy, I'm having too much fun. I'm laughing, but just to keep it on a real, it's true statement. I'm not joking. I'm not joking. Guys are attracted to me. Women are attracted to my wife. And if it wasn't true, I wouldn't say it. That's true statement. Women flirt with my wife right in front of me. I'm like, whoa, and means nothing to us. We laugh at that and press on. I'm not worried about her wanting the gay experience, and she's not worried about me. We know what we have, and so I'm just keeping it real. We our image is building up. People not only want to take pictures. You'll see pictures of me doing book signings if you go to my Instagram. Don't forget Instagram or Twitter or whatever. Look at my logo up here. It's BM Gilcreast. That's what the logo is, the handle is to get on the Instagram stuff. But look, I mean, some people want to take pictures with my wife and I. And so you'll see us out there. We was up in North Carolina. You see some pictures with her family. We sold a couple books to them while we was at, seeing family. So we went outside, took pictures. And that's right after the book signing. So all that coupled together, you see the pictures out there. But, it is what it is. You live life and you do these things and you got to find your own peace. A soulmate is somebody. It's like Mel. She's instinctively knows me. She instinctively understands me. And the way I feel with her, I've never felt that way with anyone else. That's how you know. And it's like we could be in the same house and I still miss her. or I miss her presence, you know, and she feels that she just has to be around me. And you're connected in a different level. It's not about intimacy. It's not about touching, feeling. It's just the presence. It's kind of deep. But when you understand love, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When you truly know love, you'll understand that soulmate. It wouldn't even be a question. You know, BB and CC Wine sing a song I mentioned this before, and the song goes, "I'm lost without you. I'm lost without," and that's kind of like where it's at. You know, uh, um, I think soulmates exist, and that's why we get in relationships and we don't understand what we got. You're like, you're not the person I met. You're not what I want to be with. I don't love you. And why do you stay if you don't love them? I don't understand that. You know, and if you're not going anywhere, why waste time off your life, and you're not going to be happy? I have been through marriage. I've been through relationships. I've been through common law stuff, and I was never happy. Even in those situations, I was fighting to find the one. Seriously, I was struggling, pushing through life to find the one. I didn't want anybody. I had choices. Believe me, I had a ton of choices. Seriously, picking a wife was not an issue for me. It was who, which one. Seriously, and when you know you could pick the right one, and when I picked Melody, it wasn't based on how beautiful she was. It wasn't based on if I could get with her or not. It was based on I wanted to know if she was with God. Seriously. And I think we missed that. But anyway, hopefully I answered your question. Um, Here we go. How can couples build trust in relationship? Well, you start with little stuff, go with big things. Remember, I told you on before, I said something before to this. I said, if you're in a relationship, like your phone. I think we didn't have phones back when I was dating. When I was dating Melody, we didn't have phones. We didn't have cell phones and passwords and all this other stuff. They had beepers. I beeped you. Why you didn't call me back? Kind of thing. We didn't have that. I never had a beeper. Never. I never wanted a beeper. I didn't want to be tracked like that. You know, I don't want to be responsible like you think you own me, whatever. I'll tell you, I've always been the man in my relationship. Seriously, you're not going to track me down, hound me down, whatever. And like Melody, even though I was that person, she have to trust me. If she does not trust me, we don't have a relationship. She have to trust me. But the thing is, I never had to tell her she had to trust me. It came natural for her. But a guy like me, you can't be with me unless you trust me. Seriously, going forward, if I was single today, you have to trust me because I'll tell you, you establish a relationship with me. I'm different, you know. But the thing is, when you could be comfortable to trust somebody and not worry about them going outside and cheating, this, that, and the other, and take advantage of you. Like my wife gave up a lot of money. I'm not no, $20, $30 an hour. She gave up a lot of money to be with me. She dropped everything. That's a soulmate. You know, that's trust. You know what I mean? I'm telling you, she was making a lot of money, and probably 30, $40,000 more she would have made if she would have stayed. So she'd been knocking like at 200 plus, you know, and I'm like, I said, what are you gonna do? She said, I'm leaving, I'm going with you. I just answered your questions. When you can trust your man that much, seriously, then you know you have something. All right. I don't even worry about her. All right. And here's another question. It says, how do couples approach the decision to get married? Well, when you can't stand to be apart and when you want to start having sex, that's a good time to want to get married. Because, from a biblical standpoint, and I'm a preacher, and so I give that, the Bible says better marriage than the burn. I think when you want to have sex, you should get married. I think it should be no sex prior to that. Even though I was a bad actor in that, I had a plenty, whatever, right? Call it what you want. But I wasn't going to marry them people. You know what I mean? I think women cheat themselves when they have babies and they're not married, or they keep having babies and they're not married. I think it's stupid. Really, it's stupid. Call it what you want. You didn't have a father at home. You didn't have this, you didn't have that. Shut your legs. Women know if you're 13 years old, you know if you have a baby, if you're 13, right? 13, 1-3, you know you got to take care of that baby. And then people having babies now and they want to count, I'm getting on welfare. Well, give it to Trump and Musk. Welfare is going away. So what are you going to do next? Prostitution? Drug dealer? Robbing banks? You know, it makes no sense. Put yourself in a position where that baby don't have to struggle. You know, and it's a shame that you could ask anybody, you could ask white people, newscasters, whatever, they'll tell you when single moms raise kids, not all the time, because there's some good dudes out there, like LeBron James. His mom was a big part of his life. Kevin Garnett, his mom, great, and they're multi-millionaires, you know, and Isaiah Thomas. So I'm like, you look at people, and the women was a big influence in them. My mother was a big influence in my life, you know, but that's not always the case. Don't be a single parent, because it's been a, you know, and that's 80% of single moms raise kids, right? They end up to be criminals, degenerates, you know, gang members. 80%. It's just the reverse of that. They said a single father actually raised the kid better. A single father is almost equivalent to a mom and dad in the house. For real. So when you look at to get married, I will make sure, for one, he's in church. For two, he understands love and God. For three, you've tested him out to make sure he qualifies what you're expecting. You know, and you go from there. You know, I learned something the other day. You know, people look at your hand and they say, you know, there's a saying out there, when a man's index finger is longer than his ring finger, that means he's rich. My wife and I, we had to laugh. I got looking at my hand. I'm like, oh, it means you have money or whatever. But you know, it is what it is. You know, and it's weird things, you know, people come up with. But anyway, it is what it is. All right. So when you approach the decision to get married, I think it should be a two-part. I think the woman should never ask the guy to get married. Never, ever, ever. And if she does, she shouldn't, you know, and it may not turn out well. A woman can never ask me to get married. You know, if Mel would have asked me, I always tell people, and she said, I tell people, if she would have asked me to marry her, I would have dogged her. Because you would not take my man position out of the relationship, and I don't want to take your woman position out of the relationship. And when you sit down and go together, you have to know what your part. My wife cannot boss me around, and nor do I want to boss her around. But we will have respect for each other in our relationship going forward. I don't disrespect her. She don't disrespect me. I've seen women boss guys around. There some sorry men. When a woman can boss you around, you're a sorry man. So when you look to get married, see if you could boss him around, see how you stand up. A woman wants a man to stand up to her. For real. She wants a man to take charge and be in and show that leadership and responsible mode. When dudes don't stand up, women don't respect them. Women do not respect men that don't stand up. Seriously. All right. And so I'm putting out, so check him out. You know, not only he should be in church, but make sure he gonna be the man. Make sure if somebody at the door, he'll be the one going to answer the door. All right. When a man can't treat you and show you that he's gonna protect you, why in the world would you give up your good parts of your body to him? He don't deserve you. All right. So I'll let that go. All right. I give you a lot. Check him out. Do your list. First thing you do, other than pray, write down the list of what you look for. Couples approach decisions to get married. Write down, does he fit the criteria on your list? On top of everything I just said, it ain't just one thing that makes you say, I'm going to marry him or I'm not going to marry him. It's everything. All right? Everything. All right. So here's another one. It says, should privacy exist in marriage? It better exist. That's almost like having a soulmate. That was a question somebody asked earlier. You got to have privacy. I'll tell you, my wife, if she went her family, her sister, whoever, right, and tell them my business, I got a problem with that. Seriously, I have a problem with that. We have this thing in it. If I can't trust my wife Like, why do I need a wife? And so we sat down. We know what's sacred to us, with privacy to us. It stays between us. Why do I need to marry her if she got to tell everything? And some women, I'll tell you, and some guys talk too. A lot of guys, men and women talk too much, for real. If a guy's jealous of you, he gonna talk about it. If a woman trying to pull you out and call you out, she gonna talk about you. If a woman want what you got, she gonna talk about you. Seriously. All right? And so you gotta have privacy in the relationship. It's a must because it breaks down trust. Privacy and trust goes hand in hand. So if you don't have privacy, you're not gonna have trust. No trust, no relationship. And so if a person, don't respect your privacy, that's got to mean a whole lot, And so God, I'm private on everything but the stuff to my wife. My wife knows I got to trust in her, And the thing is, the Bible says, I want to say in Proverbs, it says his heart do safely trust in her. I think that's Proverbs 31, right, babe? Mel. In the, yeah. I don't know the exact scripture. What's the scripture where it says his heart safely trusts in her? Yeah, give me that scripture. And so I want y'all to look it up because the thing is, that's how it's supposed to be. He's supposed to trust his heart in you. Whereas he can see. The thing is, when guys trust themselves into a woman, the woman betrays him. She calls him out. She put him on Front Street. When a guy gives you his heart, you can't say nothing about it. You can't throw it in his face because then he feels betrayed, feels trust. And then guys have to find that woman, I'm telling you, where they can confide their heart into. Like Mel, oh my God, we got the best thing going. We got the best thing since ice water, and they sell it in Saks Fifth Avenue. We got the best thing going. I don't betray her trust. She don't betray my trust. And even when we slip up or whatever, we tell each other, we fix it and then go forward. You got to be able to trust your spouse. That is so important, to just trust them. Which one is it? Which one is it? The heart, this is Proverbs 31. And so Proverbs 31 chapter, verse 11 says, the heart of her husband do safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. All right. You had a call. All right. So he shall have no need of spoil. And so his heart got to trust her. A woman should never be in a guy's face. That is not your job. And so that's why the Bible says a woman should not, and that's in Timothy, a woman should not usurp authority over a man. Because sometimes women make guys sorry. And the guy's like, I ain't gonna argue with you. I ain't gonna argue with you, baby. I ain't gonna argue with you, baby. Because he's trying to save an argument. Be careful, woman. That's not your place. A woman that argues with her man, she should be a man. For real. Because men argue with men. And when men argue with men, that's a challenge for them. A man don't want to argue with his wife. He don't want to argue with his woman because some people live together. I got it. And so I'm speaking both sides, even though I'm not a proponent of people live together, but a woman should not argue with you. Check this out. If you go to the Bible, I have to teach this because it's the best description I could get. If you go in the garden, when God told Adam, I use this a lot, right? But he said, don't eat of the fruit, don't eat of the fruit or the tree, don't touch it. And Eve come, she didn't scream at him. Adam, you better eat this now because I said something or you're not getting none tonight. That's funny. That's funny. She came, she said, babe, she said, if you eat this, you're not going to surely die. It's going to be okay. I think you misunderstood that. She came, you guys can get more, women can get more of a guy, And so if you got good privacy standards in your relationship, you respect each other. A woman, even though the guy's the head, he's dominant and whatever, a woman, God gave you the opposite of him so you can minister to him and get whatever you want from him. It works. You can't get it with a whole bunch of energy going out. You can't get it when you're high strung and stuff like that. Guys don't want to argue and argue and argue and argue and argue and argue. And it's like, oh my God, there's no end. All we do is argue. So live life, enjoy it, make the best of it. All right. And so keep your privacy. Keep things between you. Mom and dad should not know what's going on. Sisters, brothers should not know what's going on between your relationship when you have privacy. Okay? Nobody should know. And so what we have, this question, how can you tell the difference if you love someone or if you're just lusting for them? Well, love takes care of everything else, around you. Lust is like, when you lust somebody, right? And believe me, I've been on both sides, because I wasn't always married. But after you, I'm speaking in today's language, right? After you hit it, they say other words, but I'm not even gonna go there. But after you hit it, you're kind of like done with it. And lust is satisfied, or as the Bible say, after lust come forth, after lust, then is death. And so love bringeth forth death. And so when you look at it, it's kind of like over. It's done. Lust is just, I just want you for your body, in the story, nothing else, nothing more. And so I think sometimes because women have sex, they get emotionally attached to the dude and they don't know the difference. They're confused. And then when the guy don't act the way they think, then they feel betrayed, and then the relationship goes upside down. Been there as well, and that's why I'm explaining it like that. And so lusting, it is what it is. It's not good. It just it makes nothing long term. And when you're lusting, that's how some guys look at women with kids, or women that's high body counts, or women that's been married, they're divorced. And so you got to really, a woman have to respect herself. She have to respect the body. If everybody get to see everything in your body and you got tighter clothes on and stuff like that, guys don't look at you as you respect yourself. I saw a woman last night. It was Anna. I gave Anna a compliment. Anna had on some big clothes, big baggy-like clothes, but she was comfortable. And she looked good in it. She looked awesome in it. And she looked respectable. And the thing is, I like dashikis. I like when women wear the African culture or the Muslim culture. I like how they dress. I think it's pretty neat, and they cover up everything. I like the imagination to wonder where you can't undress people just by looking at them. But people wear today, they're like, oh, I got a bad body, this, that, and other, and can't nobody tell me nothing. You telling guys you ain't about nothing. Women can't think for a man. I'm telling you straight up. When I see a woman and everything tight, you're showing this, you're showing your belly, you're showing your breasts, your legs, your thighs, short, and then you can see your G-string coming out your pants and this, that, and other. Guys that look at that as cheap. That's recreational purpose only. Recreational use only. And so it's just somebody to have fun with. When women are sophisticated, they wear the dresses, probably just above the knee or just below the knee. They wear in Jew. They walk with a certain class to themselves, how they carry themselves, talk, walk, turn their head, hold their head up. My wife used to model, right? So I got it. If you're on the runway of modeling, you can't walk down there any kind of way. You have to walk like you got your poise, your position together. When a man walk in, he's successful. He don't walk in. Like when I walk in places, I walk in like I own the place. For real. I own the place. And the thing is, that's just who I am. Not that I own the place, but that's my character. And so it's who I am. And so how you carry yourself and how you represent yourself speaks volumes. Yes, women, wear what you want to wear. Do what you want to do. But there's a price to pay if it's incorrect. Seriously. And so when you do it, you think, oh, this is my body. It is your body. We live in a different time. People snatch people like you off the street. When women want to be like, I'm free, I'm doing that, they snatch you off the street in broad daylight. And you'll never be the same. Then you'll wish you didn't do that. It's a shame that you can't be free. It's a shame you can't wear what you want. It's a shame you can't wear short shorts and this, that, and other. It is what it is. You got grown men obsessing themselves, I'm digressing, with 10-year-old girls who they probably saw in a bathing suit. And they're losing their mind because they have to be with them. We don't live in a perfect society, so we can't be what we wanted to be. You can't do what you want to do. We live in a different world. Guys will spend a few years trying to get together with a girl. A girl or a young lady have to keep her standard high. And that she gains value and respect from that man. I'm a dude telling you. I'm a dude that used to live a different life than what I'm saying now. And so you should appreciate the stuff that I'm giving you. I'm speaking from a man's point of view. I'm a pastor, but I was a man first, right? And so I'm telling you that life because when we read the Bible, look at it, you can't look like anything. You look at Michelle Obama, right? And then you look at, these entertainers, totally different class. When Michelle shows up, she commands respect. When Kamala Harris show up, she commands respect. They don't represent themselves like loose, free. Like when you talk to them, you got to have it together. Your act got to be together. You can't just talk to them. Women carry this out. If you got to tell a dude that I'm valuable, I'm this, I'm that, and you got to show it by letting them see every curve on your body, you ain't about nothing. Guys don't look at you as somebody. Like we say, you are what you eat. And then the same thing's applicable to how you dress. You gain the attention of how you dress, for real. And so dress like a whore. Who cares? People are like, I don't dress like a whore. You know what a whore dress like. And so I'm being harsh, but the thing is, change got to be about guys. When a guy respects his woman, he's going to tell her, babe, this don't represent me well. And then some guys be like, baby, show it all. I want you to show it all. Them guys, I bet you they don't marry these girls. And if they marry them, they're not caring about them. They're not taking care of them. And then at some point, that woman is not happy. She wants that guy to treat her like he cares about her, like he wants to protect her and stuff like that. They do it to see how far they go. Sometimes women do it, see how far a guy would go or how far they go before that guy speaks up. When a guy meets a girl, he should have a standard. When a girl meets a guy, she should have a standard. And if you don't have a standard, it's not going to work. It didn't work for a while. It's good on the surface. But these guys aren't asking women for marriage. And when guys are on their way out, they don't care what their woman dressed like. I had a kid come to me and say, you know what? I can see the ladies, like the nipples on her breasts. Like you got to watch everything. You can wear pads in front of your breast so you don't get to see everything. Women got to be respectable of their bodies. Your body brings life. I think Eve, I think her name means like earth or life or ground, because women are the producer of life. And how we represent ourselves produces life, and life itself, life in relationship. You guys, and I tell you all the time, I say women have a lot of power. They have a lot of power. And they don't use their power right. They want to make a point. I'm a woman of today. I'm a new woman. I got woman lib, and I've been liberated. Liberated from what? God has set a standard for the family, and the family have lost their value, and women are chasing happiness more than they're chasing love. More than they're chasing, sticking with families, bring it together and say, no matter what we are going through, we're going to get through this, and I'm going to have the best family possible. I'll be the best wife possible, and go from there. All right? That's what life's about. We bring all this baggage to the thing, and then we try to make husbands jealous and think husband, if you could do this, I could do this too. But why not neither one of y'all do anything that's negative, that pulls you out of that relationship from the place you're supposed to be? Husband be husband, wives be wives, women be women, men be men. Boy, why is that so hard? Men don't know if they supposed to be men. They don't know if they're going and coming. They don't know whatever. They're like, should I be a man? Should I be a homosexual? Should I be a woman? Should I be a lesbian? I mean, Lord have mercy. Jesus, they're both homosexuals. And who cares? Why can't we be happy with what we're made with? A man should be the woman. A woman should be the man. Why is that so hard, so difficult, so hard to come across? Why can't we just make simple things work? And we don't understand when we make it not work. When we don't cooperate, it affects our children, and then it affects their children. And now you see generational curses or generational mishaps is working through generations. And at the end of the day, nobody's happy. Nobody. And that's why people are losing their minds. That's why mental health is so on the rise and being acknowledged. This is a category that needs to be treated. And a lot of things that go on in life, somehow or another, it deals with money or it deals with sex. Somehow or another, it seems like it's tied to money or sex. And sometimes it's sexual experiences that happen in the past that prolongs us or prevent us from moving forward with better and having prosperous relationship going forward. I say a lot of this stuff, but I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot more, and I want people's relationships to make it. I think it's pretty phenomenal if we just jump on the bandwagon and live simple lives and let life be easy and let life come to you. Versus you trying to make something happen or you trying to get attention. Be yourself. Right? So that being said, I'm gonna call it a close. Because we discussed a lot. I love talking like this. Hopefully somebody got something out of this. Because I really want folks to get it. I want folks to look at their life and say, you know what? I deserve the best. I want the best. I am the best. And so we'll get there if we can learn that, And so I'll share my screen again and show you. This is our church flyer, and I'm learning how to get this thing done the way it's supposed to. I can't do all this when I'm out. I have everything right here. I have a couple screens so I can work at this. But that's our church flyer down here in Florida. Take a picture of it, and hopefully we'll see you, in some close term in the future, So this is what we're about. This is what I do outside of this, outside my podcast. I pastor church, and I'm happy doing it. I love doing it. I love the stuff I'm doing. All right. And so you have it. And I told you I post it from time to time. And then, last but not least, I like to share, my book stuff that's out there. And I try to do something different because I do signings and stuff and I meet a whole lot of people. And so I want to, flash me up there right quick and so people can see me and say, oh my God, but I'm doing it. I mean, I do a lot of signings and meet a lot of people. And so I want people to see I'm in and out. I'm showing different screens and presentations and just so you can just get a taste or feel of what I'm doing. That's one from a book signing I did and just doing a whole lot of stuff. That's a military guy. And so me and my red jacket, so I'm out there styling, profiling, and trying to get the word out to people. But that's my book, Unworthy Chose to Forgive. And I could have held it up and showed it to you, but I like to show you that I'm out and about, show you, people's pictures that I've taken and stuff like that. And for folks get to see me at different, angles and stuff. So that's the picture of the book. Take pictures of it. Get the book. We can talk about this too. You can ask me questions if you will, and go from there. I try to keep them short because I know some people haven't read the book as well. And so let's stop sharing there. But I appreciate everybody. Thank you for the questions. For spending this time with me. We plan to be back on. I want to say tomorrow. So either tomorrow and Friday or just Friday. So if I'm not on tomorrow at 8:00, it'll be Friday at 8 or both days at 8. So just stay tuned, all right? If you subscribe to me, you're going to get it anyway. So we're going to try. It depends on how my schedule goes and stuff like that. So if we get a guest for Friday, I probably won't be on tomorrow. But if not, I'll probably be on both days because I want to continue this conversation and tell everyone, say, come and get some of this, because we got some good stuff that's going on. And we're trying to make sure everybody, can feel their way as well. and go from there. All right. So appreciate everyone once again, and continue to, keep your head up. I show you the book. I show you, you know, things we're doing. And don't forget, just keep your head up. Pray for us. Pray for me as we go forth. All right. And thank you once again for everything, all that you're doing.